If you're struggling to quit drinking now and you need help, if you've struggled in the past, or if you want to help someone who is struggling right now, this course is going to puncture the bubble of confusing and dangerous misinformation that surrounds the alcohol and the quit alcohol industries. It gives you an insight into why you drink and exactly what you need to do to stop. Now, many people refuse to face up to what alcohol is doing to them or to their lives because they have genuine fears about what will happen once they take that big leap. Now, the ideal situation would be to open your eyes on that first morning, knowing that the alcohol is gone, along with all the pain and all the suffering that you've been going through up until this moment. You don't have any fear about what you're going to do now. Instead, you're looking forward to the life that you've just gifted yourself. Now, you've finally reached the conclusion that alcohol is causing you a lot of pain. You've made your decision to stop drinking alcohol, and that's it. You never look back. You move on with your life, integrating new ways of doing things, new ways of living, better ways of having fun, enjoying your life. Now, I've been right where you are now. I've had to make all those hard decisions. I've had to push myself through those bad feelings of insecurity, fear. I've doubted a lot of the choices that I've made, second guessing myself. So I know what you're going through. Now, what I've learned over the 3 years since I stopped drinking and what I teach is that you're the one who's in control, right? You're in control of putting the stuff into your mouth, of putting the alcohol into your mouth, and you're also in control of not putting it in. You're in control of the choices that you make, including how your quit is going to affect you physically and mentally. Your strength doesn't come from what you can do, it comes from overcoming the things that you couldn't do, right? So the biggest lesson that I've learned about alcohol is that it's all in your mind. Now, that might sound very strange because we're led to believe that alcohol addiction is a physical addiction. And yes, there are some physical elements to this, but I'm going to go through a lot of that in the course. This is not about a physical disease. It's not about some physical rogue gene that you've inherited from your parents. And it's not about being trapped forever inside this body of an alcoholic, right? This is a habit that we're talking about. A bad habit, granted, but it's a habit nonetheless. Now, all your habits, including this one, are constructed in your mind one action at a time, one behavior at a time. And all your habits, including this one, can be deconstructed in your mind one action at a time. Now, in How to Stop Drinking Alcohol, I'm going to teach you some of the mindsets that will help you to develop these habit creating and breaking skills and strength. If you can convince your mind, your body is going to follow. It's as simple as that. Now, I've been scared. I've reluctantly accepted that alcohol drinking was getting the best of me. Now, before I began my journey, I was afraid to quit, definitely, 100%. It took me many years to even admit to myself that drinking alcohol was causing me problems. I spent countless of those years just trying to find this happy medium between carrying on drinking and keeping the consequences of that drinking to an absolute minimum. You know, I've tried so many different solutions to try and reduce the effects of my drinking in the short term and the long term. I've tried drinking lots of water along with my alcohol, trying to eat while I drank, switching to light alcohol versions, or taking in only enough money to the pub so that I could only afford a couple of pints. I've tried spreading my drinking out throughout the evening. I've tried diluting my drinks. I've tried keeping a diary of all my drinks, counting and measuring. I've set myself up for goals and allocations, rewards and punishments. And none of it works because it took away from my reason to drink, which was to feel drunk. Now, none of it works because alcohol is not just a drink like we think it is. Alcohol is a drug. The human body has a consistent and inflexible way of dealing with this drug. It's called tolerance. Now, tolerance means the more you use this drug, the more you can tolerate, the more you need to use the drug to get the same buzz. Do you understand what I mean? It's very straightforward. So all my efforts to moderate my alcohol use always failed. It was all to no avail. Trying to moderate using this drug for the rest of your life is a nightmare situation, and it's just a fool's errand. If I could go back now with what I know now, I wouldn't waste a single second trying to control the uncontrollable. The best we can ever do with any drug use is to try and manage the losses as best we can. There are no real gains from using alcohol, only sort of momentary diversions away from the reality of what we're actually doing to ourselves. Now, the only thing I never considered throughout all those years of trying to moderate was stopping permanently. And the reason I never considered that was because of the way we think about alcohol. We're not so much addicted to the alcohol, but we're addicted to the alcohol thinking that is so firmly established in our cultures. It's this alcohol thinking, this alcoholic thinking, that I'm going to try and change throughout this course. Now, I've had my stock of excuses. I drank to be social. I drank because I was bored. I drank because I deserved a little relaxation, a little reward, a little pleasure, and on, right? For every reasonable logic excuse to stop, I had an excuse to continue. Now, when I finally came to the conclusion that there was no way I could control my drinking, that moderation would never work for me, I had this light bulb moment, right? I knew then that the only way that I could sort of change my life and get out of the mess that I was in was to stop permanently. It was the only way forward. Now, I have to be honest, I was frightened, right? I was frightened of where my life was at that moment. I was scared about where my life was going if I didn't stop, and scared of what would happen to me if I did stop. Now, I believed I was an alcoholic, or, at least I believed that I was this watered down version of what I thought an alcoholic was. I was afraid of what people would think of me, what they would say about me. I was afraid of how I would cope without the booze, how I could live my life without the booze. That was my biggest fear, I suppose. Never being able to take a drink ever again, never, right? No matter what happened. I felt so out of control at that stage of my life. I felt like a victim. And the more I thought about it, the more I looked around for information, looked online, the more of a victim I actually felt. Now, the fact is, with that 2020 hindsight, in the bag, quitting alcohol has not only saved my life, it's given me the life that I always wanted to live. Now, I remember vaguely what my life was like before I started using alcohol. I was a child, I was a teenager, and life was wonderful. Now, 3 years later, after I've stopped, 3 years without poisoning myself with this drug, and I've got that life back, right? And I have no intentions of ever letting go again. So let's get on to the details of the How to Stop Drinking Alcohol video course. What do you actually get? Well, physical terms, there are 87 videos with over 12 hours viewing time. As a bonus, I've also included an option to download the audio for each video, so you can listen to that whenever you want. As far as the course content goes, I want to share with you that there is a way of thinking about alcohol and stopping using alcohol that will only make it much easier for you to stay away from the booze. It's going to transform how you think about alcohol drinking, and the role of alcohol in your life, right? Now, the truth about alcohol is, it's already out there. It's staring us in the face. We just don't see it because of the way that it's been concealed by years of sort of attractive brainwashing. Now, my main task throughout this course will be to expose and to try and break down as much of that brainwashing as I can. You'll learn how to see alcohol for what it really is, a debilitating and a deadly poison. We'll take a look at how you can best manage your thinking and your emotions about alcohol. We'll consider why it's so important to understand the reasons behind your drinking and the reasons for you wanting to quit. Now, this course also digs into the language of addiction, those words and phrases that will keep you locked into that alcoholic type mentality, right? We'll examine some of the addiction language that you might be using right now to describe yourself or your habit, words that are putting unnecessary roadblocks in your way, in the path of your new journey, of the new life that you want to take. Now, we'll look at some of the more common and potent obstacles that are standing in your way and how to avoid them. This course will also show you how to gain control of yourself and keep that control consistently during the all-important first few weeks and months of your quit. We'll also look at how to deal with the people around you, those who still drink, especially your family and friends. We'll go over what to expect from your recovery and some of the more important mindsets that will keep your recovery time and the discomfort that you feel to an absolute minimum. I'll show you some of the more common fears about quitting drinking and how to beat them. We'll explore what you can expect once you quit and how to speed up the whole process. You'll also learn how to think about and handle your past mistakes, and we'll face that big elephant in the room. Are you an alcoholic? Now, a large part of the material is of course going to be around mindsets and how you think. You'll discover the 4 essential mindsets about quitting alcohol for good. And the material in this course will also give you the knowledge and the skills to break or create any habit in your life. These are basically the same fundamental core skills, and they'll help you to live the life that you were meant to live. I've built this course to sort of try and change the way that you think about drinking alcohol. Your drinking thinking keeps you firmly traveling on this path of destruction, and it's only through changing that drinking thinking that you'll be able to truly leave alcohol firmly behind you and forge a better path through your life. You know, this is all stuff that I wish I'd have known 30 years ago. Like I said, I wouldn't have touched a drop. You know, hindsight being 20/20, all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm glad that I know this stuff now. Better late than never. Now, as I said, there's 87 videos, 87 audios, and for a limited time, I'm going to throw in the original audiobook version of How to Stop Drinking Alcohol as another bonus for free. That's an extra 3.5 hours of content, bringing the total length of material to over 27 hours. So what should you do now? If you'd like to buy this course and reboot your life, click on the buy button below and you'll get immediate access to all 27 hours of life-changing content. And as with anything else that's sold from the Alcohol Mastery website, you have 30 days to go through all the material. If for any reason, once you've completed the course, you're not fully satisfied with the material, or you find that you haven't changed the way that you think about your alcohol drinking, whatever reason, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. So I'll see you on the inside. I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards.